podcast you've been looking for all along. Step into the life of urban exploration with guests from around the world. Welcome to No Tracers. Welcome back to the No Tracers podcast. I'm your host, K, just the letter K. I'm also known as No Tracers, no.tracers on Instagram or No Tracers on TikTok. If you guys actually want to watch this podcast and you want to see my guests' photos along with the audio, you can actually check it out on the Just the Letter K YouTube channel. That's where I post the podcast. It's where I post my exploration videos and a ton of other like travel photography videos. So if you guys want to go subscribe over there, that'd be sick. If you're new to this podcast, please hit the subscribe button. And if you've been listening for one episode or 50 plus episodes, please leave a rating and feedback on the show. It helps us grow. It helps us find a broader audience of listeners just like you. And it gives me feedback so that I know what you like about the show. So thank you for doing that. If you do that, please take a screenshot of it and send it to me at no.tracers on Instagram, and I will actually send you a signed photo print of an abandoned place that I've explored as a way of saying thank you for supporting the podcast. So this week on the podcast, my guest is known as Infphy, Influence Photography, or Infphy for short, on Instagram, Infphy_. He is from Houston, Texas, and he explores all over Houston, all over Texas, and he's friends with some other people we've had on the show, Hidden Image, and a couple of other people that I've had on this show before, or guests that I'm going to have in the future. Super stoked to share his stories with you this week on the podcast. Before we get into it, just a few things. First of all, I have a book out, a photography book about urban exploring called No Tracers, an Urban Explorer's Diary. If you want to pick up a copy of it and check out my stories in photography, you can do so at notracers.com/shop. Over on notracers.com, you can also get a transcribed version of this episode and all my other episodes. If you are hard of hearing, or if you know somebody hard of hearing that wants to enjoy this podcast, we have transcribed the podcast thanks to podcast.ai. You guys are the best. Thank you for listening to another episode. Last thing before we get into this one, we do have a partner on this podcast, and that is Liquid Death Mountain Water. I've made an ad for you. Here it is in 3, 2, 1. From the streams of the Austrian Alps comes a new kind of water. A water that is sure to raise you from your grave. If you're tired of buying cases of plastic water bottles that contain carcinogens and God knows what else, or if you're trying to lower your waste footprint, Liquid Death comes in beautifully rugged aluminum cans. Murder your thirst with a can of Liquid Death. Check the link in the description and use code JustTheLetterK at checkout for 10% off your order. Liquid Death. Murder your thirst. So if you want 10% off your order at liquiddeath.com, grab a case of water or 50 cases of water, however much water you would like to consume. Get a set of koozies and then use code JustTheLetterK for 10% off your order. All right, without further ado, Infphy, please introduce yourself and how long you've been exploring to the No Tracers audience.
Oh, what's up, guys? I go by Infphy in the photography world, and I actually have been exploring for about 5 years, actually. Pretty crazy, pretty gnarly. I just enjoy it, man. It's pretty awesome.
So what got you into exploring in the first place? What made you catch this bug?
Man, that's a really good question, because I'm from Houston, Texas, and there's not a lot of things happening over here. So I've noticed that I think I was Googling like ghost stuff, and somehow I ended up figuring out there's abandoned like breweries like here in Houston, and I was like, I need to go check this out. End up not being in Houston, end up being like a 30 or 45 minute drive from Houston. And so I hit up like two of my homies who never done urbex. Keep in mind, I never done urbex. So we're like, dude, let's go explore this place. And so we end up doing it. We actually end up loving it. But I think what kept me going was that a week later, the guy who I invited, he ended up dying. He got in a motorcycle accident, and it chopped off his head. And I think from there, I'm like, damn, like, I just kept it going just as a memory. And also it's like, dude, like this was after as I kept going, this became more like a rehab for me, like something that I can like enjoy and do because I was actually a full-time dancer before I became a photographer, and I dislocated my knee, and my doctor said I couldn't dance, I couldn't walk, a bunch of BS, and I had to find something. I had to find something, and somehow I don't know how I got into it, but it just ended up working out, for the best of me. And also I just do it just because of the memories from my homie. Because man, that's what I cherish now. It's like, come on, like, sorry, it just makes me sad sometimes just talking about him.
No, I got you. I got you.
Yeah, it's it's just like that's how I started because of my homies. Well, we all started together, and then he ended up, passing away, and I'm just like, I can't just let this go. And ever since then, I just been pushing, and just keep, yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar story. One of the first guys I met here in like California, I went to a photography meetup, and people wear costumes and stuff, and this guy had a Spider-Man costume on, and
wow.
we clicked instantly. I took a bunch of photos of him that night, and like we became really good friends, and we had like a group of us that would explore. We'd travel around the country and do stuff together and just take photos. And he was like 27 and had a brain aneurysm at the gym and just died like right on the floor at like 27 years old, so we kind of keep his memory alive by traveling and doing these road trips and continuing to like do photography and stuff. So I totally I feel you when it comes to like talking about that stuff. Like keeping that memory alive is really important, and it makes it even more special. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Man, I just felt chills when you just said that, because it's just crazy how you can just lose somebody and legit they're not coming back. Like that to me just really like mind blows me. Sometimes it scares me. Like, man, we really need to enjoy life.
Yeah, for sure. So for you, when did photography come into play? Was it like an immediate thing? Did you just have a camera right off the bat, or did you like pick one up along the way?
So I actually, like I said, after I stopped dancing, I just came from like a Bible college and got back to Houston, and I didn't know what to do, and so one of my homies, he was a DJ, and I saw his camera like, on his bookshelf, and I was like, yeah, yo, how much for the camera? And he's like, bro, like $500. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, yo, that sounds cheap, because I'm thinking cameras are expensive. And I'm like, that sounds cheap. Like, yeah, dude, I don't have the money now, but can I do like a payment plan with you? I was just trying to like at least get the camera. He's like, yeah, man, just pay when you can. And I was like, so legit, every time I got a paycheck, I'll send him money till finally I was able to buy it. And then that day that I bought it, I got introduced to Instagram. And then there was like a photography meetup here in Houston. And so I just went to my first photography meetup with a brand new camera, not knowing what I was going to get myself into. And I think that's when it sparked it. I'm like, yo, like everyone's doing like urban street. There's smoke bombs, there's steel wool. And from there, I'm like, yo, this is a vibe. Like, this is dope. And then I'm thinking it's legal. Next thing you know, I'm like, oh crap, why are cops coming? Like, why are cops here?
Shit.
And it's like, bro, this is illegal. It's like, can this be illegal? Like, I was just like really just like mind blown. It's like, we're not doing anything. We're not like doing anything. We're not. And he's like, bro, just cops are not gonna understand. I'm like, all right, And ever since then, I met like a couple guys there. We became really good, close friends. I'm like, hey guys, are y'all coming tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, we'll be here tomorrow. I was like, bet. So it was just from there. And we just kept shooting. I was shooting auto. And then one of the guys was like, hey, bro, you ain't a real photographer if you don't know how to shoot manual. And I was like, what? What's manual? And I was like, dude, you have to switch the trigger, to the M. I was like, okay. And I'm like, bro, what the heck's going on to my camera? Like, I don't know how to, like, work this. So he's like, bro, you got to mess with it. I'm like, all right, bet. So ever since then, I just went to downtown, Houston downtown, every single day, try to learn how to use my camera, not knowing what I was doing. I think like 2 weeks in, I was like, all right, I think I got the hang of it. And then when I hanged out with them again, I was like, hey, bro, I think I got the hang of it. And then I just, show off like, look, I think I'm doing it right. And they're like, damn, bro, you picked it real quick. I was like, yeah. And I think from there, that was just like for me, that was like game over. Like, man, I found something new. I found something I enjoy. This is awesome. And like the adrenaline for me was like, yo, I like it. It was like, and then from there, it just came on. That's when I met Jason, like Hidden Image, and the rest of his cast. They hit me up on Instagram. They're like, yo, you trying to go on a trip? Keep in mind, I don't know these people. And, you know, since a little, I was told, don't hang out with strangers. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I flew to, I don't know where. I think I flew to go meet them, getting out the plane. And I'm like, bro, I might get killed, or I hope they go catch. Like, you know, I'm just flying into a random place, not knowing who they are. I'm getting in their car, and we're about to do a 7-day road trip. And next thing you know, I think that was like, it changed my life. I'm like, yo, this is what I want to keep doing. And I think that's how it sparked everything for me. Oh, wow.
That's amazing, man. I love it. I love getting to meet up with other people like from Instagram and stuff. I went to Nashville recently, and I've had this guest on the show before called Abandoned Nashville, and I ended up meeting up with him, and like another guy that I had on the show, Big Banks, happened to be there with him, and Steve Ronan was with them, and
oh, wow.
We ended up like, yeah, dude, we ended up going to like a house and like an abandoned school and like doing all this shit together. It was so sick. Like this podcast is like bringing opportunities into my life, and it's like I'm so grateful for it, you know what I mean?
Dude,
and so
awesome.
Grateful for those connections, dude. Like it's super rad. Super rad.
Awesome. I mean, I met Steve. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's pretty gnarly.
It's crazy, man. So speaking of like camera gear and other things like that, do you have any gear recommendations for people that are just getting into the hobby? And this can be like your shoes that you wear, a backpack, a flashlight, anything like that that you would recommend?
Man, so don't talk to me about shoes, man. I'm like, whoa. No, I get called out. I get called out a lot when I go exploring, because I wear like nice shoes, like branded shoes, $6,000. No, not $6,000. I'm like $200, $500 pair of shoes, and they're like, dude, aren't you messing them up? It's like, bro, shoes are meant to be worn, bro. And
true.
And I'm like, if I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna go in with style. Like, if I'm gonna get like arrested, I'm gonna get arrested with style. Like, you know, just like that was just my big motto. And so shoes, man, just wear. What I've noticed, everybody wears boots or like hard steel shoes, whatever, because of nails and stuff. But gear wise, I started with a crop sensor, a Canon 3Ti. And I think that was like the best camera that I've ever had on my hands. One, it was easy, it was simple, and it's cheap. So for beginners, crop sensor is probably the way to go. If you have the couple cash on you, then I recommend full frame, which is a little bit more like an upgrade. It's like a Toyota going to like a Tesla in a sense.
For sure.
But recently, I'm getting into Fujifilm, and I just went to a camera store today, and I'm like, they convinced me. I'm like, so I might be going back to crop sensor, because the Fujifilm is kind of killing the game now. So my friends are going to be happy. I've been kind of saying no, so it's been a battle. Nice. But in backpack, I mean, just find a good backpack that is waterproof or like water resistant on Amazon, and you can't go wrong with that, to be honest. And just carry light. Honestly, carry light in case you have to run.
Because you probably have to run.
if you're carrying heavy, man, that was my biggest L. It's like carrying heavy.
For sure. Oh my God, yeah.
I've learned my lessons.
Yeah, I'm trying to downsize right now. I have like a Wandered PRVKE like carry bag. It's huge. It's gigantic. It's like 21 liters. It's awesome. It's an awesome bag for like traveling and stuff. But like if you're trying to explore, like that's too much. You need like a smaller bag. Come on.
Especially with those tiny holes. There's some abandoned places that have tiny holes, squished through a fence or something. Like, bro, sometimes my backpack wouldn't even go through. I had to take everything out, put it in there, and put it back on.
Shove it in there and then
I'm
take
like,
it
man,
out.
this is such a trouble.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we don't have time for all that. We're trying to be stealth.
We don't.
All right. Do you have any urban exploration injury stories?
Oh, I do actually, man.
Sick.
The second one, second trip I did with Jason, we went to this place. I don't know where. Man, when I'm with Jason, I forget where we are. Um, Jason is one crazy guy, man. I love him to death. He would just let's hit another band. Let's hit another band. I'm like, bro, it's like 2 a.m, fam. Let's hit another one. It's like, all right, man, let's do it. So when I'm with him, I feel like I hardly sleep with him. Like I hardly sleep. So I keep forgetting like every band that we hit until I look at the photos. But there was this one incident where we had to figure out how to get inside of this mega church, and we didn't find a way to get in. So we had to go to the side, climb this pipe, and get to the second store window. And so, I'm short. I'm like 5'4", and I can't jump too high, So I have to like find ways, run up the wall, and hold myself, and pick myself up. So we end up getting inside the church, and we're like, "No, this is awesome. This is beautiful." And then this lady decides to come outside. She calls the cops first, and doesn't tell us. Then she's like, "Hey guys, how's it going in there?" We're like, stay quiet, stay quiet. She doesn't know that we're in here. And so we're like, just stay quiet. Don't get too close to the window. And she's like, "Oh, by the way, I just called the cops. They're actually on their way. I called them like a few minutes ago." And I was like, "Oh man, come on." Like, we're just like, so we're like grabbing our stuffs down, and we legit had to jump from a 2-story window. And so Aaron was just jumping super fast. And I'm like, oh man. And your adrenaline is hitting, like you're not thinking. You're just not trying to get caught. So it was my turn. I jump and I land, and I land on a nail, and the nail goes straight to my straight to the shoe, all the way to my skin. And I'm like, fudge. I was just like, but it hurt so bad that I didn't have time to process it. I'm here thinking, I need to leave. We're about to get caught. We need to bounce. So I legit am running with my feet. It's all bleeding. And I'm just like, bro, we got to bounce. We got in the car. We drove. And then we parked at some corner store. And that's when I take out my shoe. And I was like, bro. Aaron was like, bro, we need to take you to the doctor. And I'm like, man, screw this. We need to hit Bandos. And so I think like their courage just rubbed off on me. And I was like, man, it's all good. And they're like, bro, we need to get you the tennis shot. I'm like, I don't know what that is. We need to keep hitting Bandos.
My God.
Like, I'm just like, let's do it. And so like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, let's do it, man. We just went on. We went on hitting more Bandos after that. And I went to get my foot checked out after I got back to Houston. Luckily, it did not get infected, and I was good. But I'm like, bro, like, that was like the worst pain ever. Just jumping from a 2-story window, landing on a nail. Like, it's just not like, and that's when I learned I need some boots. Like, this. I was just wearing like some nice shoes. I was wearing some Yeezys, and it just went straight to it, bro. I was like, bro.
Oh God, Yeezys not made for urban exploring.
They're not, and I wear that every single time I go exploring. And so he's like, dude, I'm like, sorry, man. Just gotta go with style,
Yep. Sacrifice it. Yep, that's right. Yep.
Man,
all right, so you're good. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
I was gonna ask, like, what's the longest amount of time you've spent in a bando?
Oh man, I think that was when Fran and Becca came to Houston. I was watching Becca. Man, shout out to her, man. R.I.P. though, but love her. She came to Houston, and then she was live on her Instagram, and I'm like, hey, I know how to get, because they were trying to find a door to go to this inside of this bando. I'm like, I know how to get in. This is how you do it. So I'm telling her I'm guiding her while I'm on live chat. First, she didn't know who I was, but since I knew the location, I was able to guide her. Then she hits me up, hey, we should hang out. So they come back to Houston again, and then they take me to this new bando I've never been to, and we legit spend the whole day there, like morning to like night, the whole day. And we were inside this morgue. It was like a hospital, and it was so beautiful because the place, I've never seen equipment so old, probably from the 1990s. It was just really, really old. So I'm not sure the year, but it was amazing. And then it started thunderstorming. and lightning started happening, and Fran was like, bro, this is awesome, this is some good BTS. So we're just like recording the window, lightning happening, water dripping, and I'm like, damn man, this for me I was like, this is life. Like I've never done this. I'm hanging out with the OGs, and I'm like, I've never spent this amount of time in a band though. And of course they were filming for their YouTube video, and I'm like, because I'm so used to going in, snapping photos, and leaving. Like, I'm so used to doing that. So, hanging out with them, I thought that was like an experience, something I would never forget. And that was just amazing for me. Just hands down, one of the best experiences I had with them.
Wow, that's amazing. What a
Man,
great story,
I
man.
miss her.
And oh yeah, dude, that was what was her username? Like abandoned
B-word.
suburbia, I think.
B-word.
B-word. Yeah.
B-word. Yeah,
Damn, man. Too many people gone too soon.
for real. She was like, she's still the GOAT.
For sure. Tell me about your scariest exploration.
Paranormal or just scared by cops?
Either or both.
Well, there's one I can tell. I didn't get well. Yeah, I kind of got scared for a bit. I've never done a shoot that involves having artists. Like artists will hit me up. Hey, let's do a photography shoot at a bando. I will always say no, always, because one, I'm thinking about the safety, and then I'm thinking about like I don't want to get in trouble, and I don't know how they roll and stuff. So one day I said yes, and it was just probably the best experience I ever had. And also, I think that's why I just stopped doing it. We went to this abandoned warehouse, which it was not even worth it at all, to be honest. But we ended up parking in front of a car. And behind the car, there was like 16 cars behind us. And we didn't know that all the cars behind us, their windows were busted open. We just didn't know. So we parked in front of their car, in front of all the 16 cars, and somehow I think the neighbors called the cops. And so the cops showed up. Keep in mind, they thought it was us because our car was the only one not like broken. So they sent a helicopter. They sent 6 cops. They sent the fire department. They sent the sheriff. And they're like, "We know you're in there. Come on with your hands up." I'm like, "What? Like, what the hell's going on?" Like, you were just like freaking out. I'm here like, calm down, guys. It's not a big deal. Someone's probably outside, getting arrested. We're good. No, that's what I was thinking. But no, they were actually horning out the whole entire warehouse. We couldn't leave. The fire department came. The cops were getting on top of the ladder, so they were getting on the roof. So in case we got on the roof and left, we'll get caught. So like, there was nowhere that we can leave. So they found this. They told us to get down. Once they got down, they had the guns on our faces. And like, get on the floor. And I'm like, oh man, dude, we're about to die.
Oh my God.
And and it's like me and different types of, colored people. And so we're just like, man, we're going to die. But they had our guns on our faces. Man, what the heck are you doing here? Are you responsible for breaking all these cars? I'm like, we're not doing nothing, sir. We're just taking photos. We're filming a music video at this abandoned location. And that's it. We don't believe you, blah, blah. Are you tagging in this location? I'm like, no, sir, we don't do graffiti. Like, you can check our hands. They were checking our hands. So we had nothing in our hands. They were just searching us. They didn't let it go. They didn't let us go for like 3 or 4 hours until the sheriff had to come. They had to get the owner of the place, and they just wouldn't let us go. And they really were trying to get us to jail. And now I'm like, bro, dude, this is like the worst experience ever. I never had like just that happen to us. And things, they figured out it wasn't us. They found the person that let us go. And we're gonna let you out in the warning. Next time, don't be trespassing. I'm like, man, we won't. And I think that's when I learned my lesson. I'm like, don't invite people. Just hang out with the friends that and people will be doing it for a minute. And just don't invite people. But at least like don't do like photo shoots like that. You know what I'm saying? So and from there I just learned. And I was like, never again. But paranormal activity, man, that's like a hit or miss for people. You know, some people believe it, some
Yeah,
people don't.
for sure.
I was one of those that didn't believe it until it happened to me. It happened to me like twice, and one of them was again another abandoned hospital. I went inside the morgue. Keep in mind, it's Houston weather. We're 104 degrees. It's hot, and plus inside of an abandoned place, it gets even hotter. And we're like, man, I'm like, they want to go explore the place. I'm like, dude, I need to find this morgue. So I end up finding it. I go inside this morgue, and I kid you not, it was below like 50 degrees in there.
Oh, nope.
And that's like in 104 degrees hot, like outside and inside, like, so it was just kind of weird, like having a morgue like be really cold. So I go in there and I start shivering, like, man, why is it cold in here? So I don't think, I just go straight out and go call my friends, hey man, check this out, man, the morgue is actually like pretty cold. So I go back, it's hot, the morgue is hot now, like the coldness just
Whoa.
left. And I'm like, man, I swear, guys, this was cold. They wouldn't believe me. I'm like, I swear, guys, this was cold. I kid you not. I'm not lying. Then I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm probably just, I don't know what's happening. It's probably the heat. It's making me delusional or whatever. So they left, and I left, and I was like, and I still had it, man. I swear it was cold. I go back, it goes cold again. And I'm like, okay, man, this is just tripping me out. So from there, I said, screw it. I know what I saw. I know what I felt. I was just gonna live my day. And then I had like two other people, photographers, came the next day, and they're like, bro, they called me, and they went at me, and they called me, hey, bro, Infy, can you get us out? Can you find a way to get us out? Because I feel like this is haunted. There's like dogs in here barking so loud, but there's no one here. And I'm like, damn, fam, I'm glad I'm not the only one. Like,
Yeah.
And then he was like, the elevators are just going up and down. They're opening and they're closing. And like, I'm like, damn, bro, I didn't have that experience, but that sounds pretty scary. Let me go find a way to get you out. And so that was like one of the, from there, they believed me. And I'm like, dude, when I went there, it was cold. He's like, I believe you, bro. Since we had a different experience, I know this place is haunted. I'm like, okay, good. I'm not the crazy one. And then the other one, I went to, I don't know if you heard it, it's the Baker Hotel over there in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's a well-known hotel. Like, you can legit find it on Google. Even like locals go there and just take pictures with their sons and their babies, and because I've seen those photos. And now I think it's being constructed or redone. I went there with my homies, and I go in there again. My friends leave. Man, I swear someone was touching my shoulder. Like legit,
Ugh.
just I felt someone was just touching my shoulder. Like if someone like would just grab your shoulder and just move you, that's how it felt. And I'm just standing there with my tripod with my camera, and and the walls behind me. And what's behind, so it moved me. And I look back and like, bro, what the heck, man? Here we go again. That's all I said. Here we go again. They're not gonna believe me. So I didn't say anything. I didn't tell them this place was haunted, but I know what I felt. Next thing you know, I go back again, like another day with my friends, and they both feel it too. Bro, someone's touching me. And I'm like, sweet, I'm not the only one that's crazy. So then from there, I'm like, you felt it too, right? And it's like, yeah, man, someone's here, someone's touching me. And I'm like, yeah, bro, people are not going to believe us, but I know what we saw, I know what we felt, and bro, this is gnarly. I became a believer after that. I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is crazy. And I think it happens to those people that don't look for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're looking for it,
For
I
sure.
don't know if it pops out or nothing, but I wasn't looking for paranormal activity at all. I was just like, bro, this is beautiful. I like, this is a beautiful bando. And it just can't, end up, encountering stuff. And I was like, bro, this is just creepy, man.
Yeah, I think
gnarly.
if you like seek it out, it hides. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's just two experiences I've had, to be honest. Other than that, I haven't had any experiences in other worse bandos. Apparently, that I was told they were haunted, and I never had any experience like that. Just in two random spots that I wasn't looking for. Next thing you know, I'm like,
That's crazy.
yo, this is crazy.
Cool. That's like nuts, dude. Like, I love hearing about those kind of stories because like you said, like some people are like on the fence about it, but if you've experienced it, you know what's up.
Correct. Yeah, like I was on the fence about it, and I still think I am, but you know, like I'm like, bro, that happened to you, bro. I'm like, no, it's my mind playing games, and I was like, so it's just like a battle now, a battle of mind with me, but yeah, it's pretty crazy.
All right, let's talk about social media for a second. How'd you come up with your username?
Oh, actually, I suck at names. I really do. So I was talking to one of my mentors. His name is Jesse Hernandez. He goes by DJ Overflow, and we were just going with names. And he was like chatting names, and somehow he's just like, I told him I want to do something with influence, like something that can impact people. You know, I want my work to speak for itself, and I just want to hide my face. I just want my work to speak for itself. So I need to come up with a name. So he's like, how about Infphy? And I'm like, what does that mean? And he's like, so what he did, he just took out influence, like the first three letters of influence, like INF. And then he took out the last three the last three letters of photography, PHY. And then he just put them together. And I'm like, influence photography. It's just Infy. And I'm like, yo, that's gnarly, bro. And I was like, that's pretty sick. So ever since then, I just ran with that Infy. I was like, it's just sounded so unique. And ever since then, I was just like, bro, thank you, bro. I made a brand out of that, and it's just been crazy. Like,
so sick.
It's so sick, man, for real.
That's awesome. And you just started in 2019, you started Infy Feet Dangles. I love that page.
Oh, bro, that's crazy. That's crazy. I forgot what year it started, but yeah, I started the Infphy thing was because I was like, man, I do a lot of that's why I think that's how I got known in Houston. Just like, oh, this is the guy who just gets on rooftops and just feet stangle over the building, skyscrapers. He's pretty, crazy. And then I'm like, I just started doing it. And then I started doing it with sandals and socks, and I was like, bro, this is so cool. And I was like, I need to make my own page, like a whole different page. It could probably like blow up. I don't know. I was just thinking, this is a cool page, and I just created it, and it's just there now, just to remind me. I'm like, bro, damn, you've been to all this like craziness, and you're still alive.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, I
Do you have any?
you checking out.
Of course. Do you have any bucket list items, like places you haven't been to yet that you really want to go to?
Oh, yes, I have a lot, actually. Bando-wise, there's so many bandos that I want to hit that I haven't been able to due to, like, just, finances or just life, in general. But I kind of want to start doing, like, the worldwide things, like going to Japan, going to, like, Canada, Toronto, and, like, going to Iceland, and, like, just exploring, like, the other side of the world that I haven't yet seen. And for me, looking at photos, I'm like, yeah, it looks cool. It's probably fake. It's probably Photoshop. But then I'm like, yo, this is real. Like, this is real in real life, and you need to experience this. And I'm like, all right, bet. So I think that's me. Like, I have to experience so I can believe it. And so I'm from Houston, and I've never seen mountains in my whole entire life. Like, I haven't. So when I started traveling around in the United States, like going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and like, that side of town, I started seeing mountains for the first time, and I'm like, bro, these are so huge. Like I didn't know this earth had this. Like, I was just like a little small baby. Like, so this is what history about. Like, I was just like, this is amazing. And then witnessing snow for the first time, I was just like such a kid. I'm like, bro, this is snow. Oh my God, this is snow. This is white. Like, this is real. And then witnessing all that, it's just so now I do have that. Then I think that's when I became going to the bucket list. I really want to visit the Grand Canyon and like the Antelope Canyon, I believe. Horseshoe Bend, or something like that. Like that area. I really want to visit that. I just think it's so cool. I want to visit Seattle. I haven't been. I hear that it's just so moody. It rains a lot, and
Yep.
so many vandals over there. I want to hit. So I want to visit that. And also, I haven't visited California yet. It is on
Come
my
on.
bucket list. It is on my bucket
Come on
list.
out here.
And I really want to visit it. I want to visit the homies, but most of all, like I just want to enjoy time. I just want to create memories with everybody that I come across. And but yeah, in the United States, there's some of the places I want to visit. Oh, in Colorado. Ooh, Colorado.
Yeah.
People tell me
Colorado's
it's
sick.
just pretty sick. But outside, I really want to go to Japan
Yeah.
and Taiwan. Just those places. I really want to try their food. I hear their food is so good.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I just want to hit Bandos over there. I just feel like
For sure.
I need to like travel. I feel like that became my therapy. And then when pandemic happened, I feel like it just ruined a lot of things for at least for me. And I think that helped me like slow down. And I think I got kind of a little bit depressed. I'm like, I need to get out. I need to get out. I need to go explore. And so now that out here in Texas, the mandatory thing just got lifted. So I'm like, bro, it's time to start traveling. It's time to start meeting all these new cats. So
absolutely.
Yes.
Sorry. You're good. You're good. No, that's awesome. Like, I love hearing about like the bucket list stuff that you want to do. Like in November, I went out to Denver or like Colorado for like 2 days with a friend of mine, Urbex Off Limits, and we hit 8 bandos.
He came to Houston, and sadly I wasn't able to link up with him. I was kind of disappointed.
He's rad.
Man.
Yeah, he's super cool, man.
God, that's awesome. 8 bandos, that's amazing.
8 bandos in 2 days. It was crazy. We like didn't stop. We were like, let's just keep going.
That sounds like me and Jason's crew, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, we were hitting bandos night and day. We just slept in the car for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and we hit another bando. And I was like, bro, y'all crazy. So I know I know the rush and I know the feeling. That's just an amazing feeling. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Damn, that's pretty rad. And it was good. Like, y'all didn't have no trouble or anything?
Nah, we didn't have any trouble, man. The last thing we hit was this abandoned military like bunker where they used to store the intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Wow.
And it was like miles and miles of tunnels underground. It was like probably like 75 degrees on the surface, and underground it was probably like 40 or 50 degrees, just so cold, and like there was like water buildup everywhere, and like, dude, it was crazy. We went into the rooms where the missiles used to stand up, and like it was just crazy to see that kind of shit.
Wow, that is pretty gnarly. Like, seeing that in real life, that's probably like mind-blowing.
It was nuts, dude. And it was like in the middle of nowhere, you know what I mean? Like, it was just like in the ground. We just had to like go under this like grate thing that's like sealed off now, so unfortunately nobody can get into it anymore. But like, it was crazy. I'm so glad we got to go in there and see that. And like, I wish I had the courage to go deeper like into the place, but like I was kind of sketched out at a certain point. I was like, dude, I don't want to get lost in here. You know what I mean? Like, we're underground with no phone service right now. Like, this is crazy.
Damn. That's awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bro.
It was nuts. So my last question for you is, what is something you know now that you wish you knew when you started exploring?
Go with somebody at least to a bando. Never go alone, unless you got that kind of courage. But like, over my experiences, going with at least another person, it's so much better, and it helps you keep an eye on things. Because I've heard stories where people just go alone and they'll just either get stabbed or get robbed and stuff like that. So I'm like, just go with somebody. Go with someone that you trust, and it's not a scary cat. Like someone that's probably like more braver than you in a sense. They can encourage you, like, come on, man, we gotta do this. Because we're human beings. We have flesh, and we sometimes get scared, and we're like, nah. But just having that encouragement, I think that's what Jason was with us. He was like, come on, let's do it. Like, all right, man, let's do it. So yeah, go with somebody and just enjoy it. that being said, I have an extra story if you want to hear. That
Absolutely.
happened here in Houston. We had a hurricane that flooded the whole entire Houston, like the whole entire Houston. That it took like 7 days for the water to go down, and people were just starving to death, and just it was just nasty. So after it went down, there was a bunch of hospitals that were flooded, and I'm like, bro, this is the best chance to hit Bandos. So I actually went to this abandoned hospital, and I knew how to go. I had to find a way to get in, but it had black mold like everywhere. Like 98% it was full of black mold because it was flooded. And I was like, man, I don't want to go in alone. So I called one of my homies. Nobody wanted to go with me. Nobody. So I'm like, you know what? I posted it on Instagram. Hey, who wants to go explore with me? Not giving out locations or anything. You're just, I see someone would say something. And then I'll pick like, all right, he's trustworthy. So finally I got some cool cats, and they finally came with me. I told them, hey, bro, we need to go to Home Depot, buy some respirator masks because there's a lot of black mold, and black mold is pretty bad for your lungs. So we go in. I kid you not, it felt like that TV show, Stranger Things. It felt like that. Like you can see the mist just going through the hallway, the particles just going through the hallway, black mold on the side of the walls, blood splashed on the hallway. Like there was just dead bodies there, and it was just insane. So as we're going in, the odor started getting really, really strong, to the point where it was going through our mask, and our mask couldn't like really like filter it. So I'm like, bro, this smells crap. So I'm like, bro, we can't leave until we find at least one hospital, machine or whatever. Like we need to find something. So we end up finding a hospital bed. Not a hospital bed, like when they do like surgery and stuff like that on it. And it was covered with blood, like the whole entire thing. And when it's flooded, blood, mold, the worst smell ever. And we're in there taking our shots, trying to breathe, like, with our mask on. We probably didn't even last 10 minutes in there. That's how bad it smelled. We got our shots and we left. And I think that those shots has been like the crazy stories I have told to people. They're like, man, you never went there. And I'm like, bro, then I'll show them the videos and then the photo, and they're like, bro, you're crazy. That's insane. Is that even real? People thought it was Photoshop. And because, we're humans, we hardly see anything like that. So it being flooded, seeing like bodies like that, just blood splashed everywhere, I felt like I was like in Stranger Things field. And that's been such a wicked experience, at least for me and Houston. Damn. And then like legit, 1 week later, the whole entire hospital gets destroyed, gets demolished.
Wow.
And I'm like, bro, I'm so glad I went in there, documented it, and left. It's like, I was like, man, nobody would have known, Like, everyone's just still trying to recover, trying to, fix their house, fix their roof, insurance. And I'm here like, I need to hit a bando. Like we just got flooded, like, and we survived. I need to hit a bando. Something must happen. It's like something must get hit. So that's
a crazy story. That
is pretty crazy. The smell was nasty, and the fact that we couldn't last 10 minutes in there, that just proves to you that it was nasty.
Oh yeah. Oof, gross. Well, hey, thank you for coming on this show. Like, if people want to keep following your journey, where can they find you online? Drop your social media.
Yeah, man. Feel free to check out my social media at Infphy, INFPHY_. You can tap that on any platform, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, man. Hit me up, send me a DM, and let's chat. And also, thank you for having me.
All right, guys, that was my episode with Infphy. If you guys want to check out his photography, definitely do so. His links are down in the description. Thank you so much for listening to another week of the No Tracers podcast. I'm your host, Kay, just the letter K. If you enjoyed this episode, please do me a favor and leave a rating and feedback on it so that I know what you liked about the episode, and so other people that are looking for podcasts to listen to can come across your feedback and give this podcast a shot. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you next week for another episode. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and remember, leave no trace.